Here is the new format that we'll be using, which is somewhat like the princess patter that you receive on the ship every morning at your stateroom. As you notice, there was 3 things that we did today. We checked out of the hotel. We took a small, short gray line tour, about the same thing we did the day before, and then we boarded the ship. One last look out of the hotel room window before checking out. Here we see the ladies getting ready to board the Lee tram for the Greater Montreal guided tram tour that we took after breakfast, passing Mary, Queen of the World Cathedral. The tour bus's first stop was the St. Joseph's Oratory atop of Mount Royal. It is one of the largest, most visited shrines in the world. The basilica's huge dome reaches 97 meters and is second only in height to St. Peter's Basilica in Rome. This was part of the garden in front of the basilica. Barbara in the garden. The next stop was the scenic overlook at Mount Royal Park, which we had been to the day before. Driving by the stadium that the Montreal hockey team calls home. Driving by Montreal's Chinatown, which we never got back to. After the tour, we went back to the hotel and got on another bus that took us to the ship. Here we are on the sun deck, or the top deck of the ship, with the city in the background. A picture of the pools on the Lido deck, or one deck below us. Three of more than a dozen trucks that unloaded provisions on the ship. After the first night aboard ship and breakfast, we decided to walk down and see Old Town. I suggested we take a cab down there so we don't wear ourselves out too soon. Here's Tom waiting for the taxi cab that took us to Old Town. The taxi dropped us off on Rue St. Paul, or St. Paul Street. Some of these homes and buildings in here are from the 1700s. This is the Silver Dome on Broncourse Market, which was built in the middle of the 19th century to accommodate a public market. Next to the market is the Broncourse Chapel. We are standing in Place Jacques-Cartier. That building to the right is the Montreal City Hall. Resting in the park with the City Hall in the background. Several pictures of Rue Saint Maribel on Artist Street. Taking one more rest as we walk the tour. Here is the Notre Dame Basilica of Montreal. Here are several pictures of the inside of the basilica. I wonder if Tom noticed the guy in a black shirt giving the eye to Carol. Tom and Carol, who had seen the interior of the basilica earlier, then went their way. Here they are stopped having a little glass of wine. A Montreal sunset as seen from the ship. During the night, the ship proceeds from Montreal to Quebec City as shown on this map. Today, we'll dock at Quebec City, take the grand exploration tour of Quebec, and do some shopping later. We will be parking behind that other cruise ship. The first stop on the tour was Montmorency Falls. You ride the cable car to the top of these 272-foot high waterfalls. They're 1.5 times higher than the Niagara. See that little bridge crossing the falls? Tom went up there and took the following pictures. A view of the St. Lawrence River from the bridge. A better view of the bridge. The gentleman on the left is our tour director. Notice the white building in the background? It is Manor Montmorency, which was a hunting club in the early 1900s. There's that tourist again in one of the gardens around the manor. The next stop on our tour was the Shrine of Saint Anne de Dupree, one of the entry doors. The next several pictures are of the interior of the basilica. This was a small chapel in the basement of the main chapel, another church not too far away. Included in the tour was a lunch featuring French dishes served at a converted farmhouse, the charming Baker's Inn. This giant vine was in front of the restaurant. We then boarded the bus to go back to Old Quebec City. This restored square in the heart of Lower Town features superb examples of the 17th and 18th century stone architecture that characterizes the city. Getting off the bus at Place Royale for our tour. Behind Carroll is the Vernacular Railroad, which will take you up to Upper Town and Chateau Frontenac. The square is home to Notre Dame des Victorias, the oldest cathedral still standing in North America. A statue in Dufferin Terrace. A fake statue next to the real statue. Real people in front of the fake statue. Looking at the port from the terrace, that ship in the foreground is the Fantasy by Celebrity. Our ship is right behind it, looks about half the size. And remember, our ship is some 800 feet long. The final site on our tour was the Plains of Abraham, where the famous battle between the French and English armies took place in 1759. This is the Chateau Frontenac, Quebec's most recognizable landmark. This hotel was built in 1893 by the Canadian Pacific Railway. That evening, after dinner aboard ship, we walked back to Old Town. The final picture of the day of Chateau Frontenac lit up at night.